A new manager has been appointed at Marina Del Rey on Lake Texoma. News 12's Jerry Vaughn tells us about the challenges ahead.
On Thursday, a Marshall County judge appointed Bill Glascock as the new manager to take over operations at Marina Del Rey on Lake Texoma near Kingston. Glascock is the former owner and operator of Alberta Creek Resort on Lake Texoma before retiring in 2021 and moving to the Marina Del Rey community. A third-party receiver was previously appointed by the court to lead operations but was allegedly dismissed after a conflict of interest was discovered. That receiver was tasked with taking over emergency operations while the marina's owner is involved in a legal dispute. As the new marina business manager, Glascock will be focusing on repairing several severely damaged areas at the marina, prioritizing repositioning loose boat houses as well as clearing access to walkways and restoring utilities to affected areas. In November of last year, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers issued a closure notice after finding several safety concerns. Recent storms have worsened conditions at the marina, leaving several boat docks damaged or collapsed, creating hazards both in and out of the water. Following another recent assessment, the Corps is warning the public to stay clear of both land and waters around the marina until further notice. The marina announced they will be closed through the weekend with access to the boat docks prohibited. Reporting, Jerry Vaughn, News 12.